Donald Trump claims he saved India and Pakistan from a catastrophic war, stating 11 very expensive jets were shot down in a massive aerial battle. But the reality is completely different. While painting himself as a savior, he is simultaneously threatening India with a crippling 200% trade tariff. This is not friendship. This is a calculated double game, and today we are going to decode the truth behind this geopolitical theater. Let us strip away the political rhetoric and look at the raw mechanics of power. In international relations, words are merely tools used to manipulate perception. Recently, President Donald Trump made a staggering claim on the campaign trail. He stated that during his tenure, India and Pakistan were going at it and that his administration stepped in to stop a conflict where 11 very expensive fighter jets had already been shot down. Anyone who follows the military history of the subcontinent knows this is a complete fabrication, a severe inflation of the facts. The reality of the 2019 post-Balakot skirmish is that exactly 2 aircraft went down, one aging Indian MiG-21 and one Pakistani F-16. So why multiply the casualties? Why invent an aerial apocalypse? Because in the ruthless world of domestic politics, projecting power requires grand narratives. By fabricating a scenario where nuclear-armed nations were supposedly destroying each other's air forces by the dozen, Trump positions himself as the ultimate global peacekeeper. He is attempting to project an image of absolute leverage, signaling to his domestic base that American hegemony under his watch was so absolute that a single phone call could halt the war machines of 2 massive Asian powers. But this is where the hypocrisy becomes blindingly obvious. In the exact same breath that he demands gratitude for supposedly saving the subcontinent, he unsheathes an economic weapon against New Delhi. He labeled India a very big abuser of trade relations and threatened to impose a 200% tariff on Indian goods if he returns to power. Think about the sheer contradiction here. You do not impose a 200% tariff on a strategic partner. A tariff of that magnitude is not a trade negotiation. It is an economic blockade. It is a declaration of financial hostility designed to break the export capacity of a rising power. This is the definition of transactional diplomacy. Washington wants to extract maximum strategic utility from India to counter China, but it wants to do so while keeping the Indian economy entirely subservient to American terms. I want you to visualize the map of the Indian subcontinent right now. If you trace the border from the Run of Kutch all the way up through the militarized line of control in Kashmir and further east toward the Himalayas, you're looking at the most volatile geopolitical fault line on the planet. This geography dictates everything. Pakistan sits to the west, acting as a strategic proxy for Beijing, while China applies pressure from the north and east. India is locked in a 2-front geographic nightmare. America knows this. Washington looks at this map and sees India as the only geographic bulwark capable of absorbing Chinese expansion in Asia. The United States needs India's landmass, its navy, and its strategic location dominating the Indian Ocean to secure global maritime trade routes. Yet, despite this absolute geographic reliance on India, the political rhetoric coming out of Washington treats New Delhi like a subordinate client state. Claiming that America had to step in to stop India and Pakistan from destroying each other strips India of its strategic agency. It implies that India lacks the maturity to manage its own borders without a babysitter in the Oval Office. And the Indian diaspora sees right through this patronizing strategy. Recent data confirms this. A comprehensive survey reveals that 55% of Indian Americans disapprove of Donald Trump's policies regarding India. This is a highly educated, incredibly wealthy demographic that understands the brutal realities of realpolitik. They recognize that a leader who offers a smile for the cameras while hiding a 200% tariff dagger behind his back is not a reliable ally. The Indian American voter base is rejecting this carrot and stick approach because they understand it threatens the economic rise of their country of origin. So, what is the strategic lesson here for India? It is a lesson in the absolute necessity of power. This entire episode validates the core philosophy of India's foreign policy, strategic autonomy. In a world where a superpower can pivot from claiming to be your greatest friend to threatening your entire export sector overnight, reliance on foreign goodwill is a recipe for national suicide.
If a 200% tariff is even a remote possibility in the minds of American policymakers, India must accelerate its economic insulation. This is where the concept of Atmanirbharta or self-reliance shifts from being a domestic political slogan to an urgent national security imperative. India cannot afford to have its economic growth held hostage by the mood swings of American electoral politics. From a realist perspective, New Delhi must treat the United States exactly how the United States treats the rest of the world, as a utility. Engage where interests align, specifically in the Indo-Pacific regarding maritime security and technology transfers, but relentlessly build parallel structures. India must deepen its trade architectures with the Global South, with the Middle East, and solidify its domestic manufacturing base so that no single foreign capital possesses the economic leverage to dictate terms to New Delhi. Furthermore, this highlights the danger of military dependency. If Washington claims the authority to intervene in regional conflicts like the 2019 border skirmish, imagine the leverage they would hold if the bulk of the Indian Air Force relied on American hardware. In modern warfare, the supplier of your weapons controls your ability to fight. They can turn off GPS access, withhold spare parts, or enforce end-user agreements that prevent you from deploying those weapons when your national survival is at stake. True sovereignty only exists when your weapons are designed, manufactured, and sustained within your own borders. The double game of fake war claims and extreme tariff threats is not a glitch in American foreign policy. It is the standard operating procedure of a hegemonic power trying to maintain dominance in a multipolar world. India must not react with emotional outrage but with cold, calculated strategic maneuvering. Build the economy, fortify the borders, and never ever outsource national security to a distant superpower. Before we conclude, a quick question to test your strategic knowledge. During the actual 2019 Balakot airstrikes, which Indian fighter jet was primarily used to cross the border and deliver the payload? Was it A, the Sukhoi Su-30 MKI, B, the Dassault Rafale, C, the Mirage 2000, or D, the MiG-21? Drop your answer in the comments below. In geopolitics, there are no permanent friends, only permanent interests. Thank you for listening.